Hello, stream and future VOD watchers.
Hello.
Greetings.
Valid. Look,
Well,
everybody in stream. I made it so that all of the little puppets bounce now.
yeah, the bouncing puppets is important. So should we recap what we have set up so far?
That'd be a good idea.
All right, so you've all been in the Earth Kingdom village of Chonam. While you were there, the Red Ribbon Dauphe group attacked. However, you were forewarned that that was going to happen thanks to the Dauphe defector Uvaro, who came and warned you all. You were able to fight off the Dauphe and kind of embarrassed their leader as they fled. But in the melee, they did manage to steal the monkey peacock statue at the village shrine, which is now kind of unstabilized the spirit world nearby. The other notable people here in the village, we have Willow, who's the elder of the village who maintains the shrine. She's also a decent earthbender, not so much for fighting, but she's a pretty accomplished sculptor. And she's the one who kind of created the shrine and is the person that everyone looks to for spiritual guidance in the area. The other notable person in the village at the moment is Bowen, who is the local merchant, probably the wealthiest man in the area. He and Willow often butt heads as to what they should do for guiding the village. Bowen likes to think of himself as a future-looking man, and Willow is more interested in caring for people and making sure that things maintain balance. Doesn't want to rock the boat as much. So after the Daupha attack, where are you all? Like, what are you currently doing in the village?
Uh, I think that I would be trying to help people like rebuild and like shore up in case we get attacked again.
Okay. Pongo, what are you doing in the village right now?
I am assisting as well. I'm using airbending to move some like debris around.
And Uvaro, what are you doing?
I'm going to like go just to like the outskirts of the village, and I'm going to use my earthbending to summon my badger mole, and I'm going to just have him be like essentially a guard dog per se, to where he's just going to be circling the town and making sure that no one else is coming in, and if anything untoward happens, uh he'll let me know.
Sounds great.
And afterwards, I will return to probably find like a guardsman, and just help them like round people up and like look for people, trying and using my earth bending in the best that I can to help just get people contained if people were like freaking out. Probably making
Well,
little like lean-tos and stuff like that for the time being if buildings are too damaged to be inside of. Otherwise, he'll just be assisting.
they don't necessarily have like any dedicated guards. Not the village isn't really large enough. It's kind of tucked out of the way that if anything really happens, they send for like the next town over to come help, or they have like a posse that they'll get. There is, however, a young woman named Hannah who you spot kind of roaming about with a fairly sharp-looking sword on her back. She's kind of pacing around outside the village as you get your badger mole and give it some orders.
Does she look like a is she from the village, or
Yeah, she's
is
from the village.
okay?
You recognize her from your time in the village as you came to warn everyone about the Dalphai attack. You haven't spoken with her a lot yet, but you do recognize her.
I will approach her a bit pensively, especially because like my character is ex now Dao Fei, but he's like still not like doesn't want to overstep anything, and like he doesn't want people to like freak out like, oh, a Dao Fei member or something. So he's going to just like ask if she needs any assistance, if she's looking for anybody.
Well, Hannah looks at you over, sees the. Are you still wearing the cuffs around your wrist?
Yeah.
She sees the cuffs around your wrist. Oh, the Dao Fei. Come to spy more on our village.
I think if I wanted to do spying, I wouldn't have warned everyone and helped in the defense of this village.
You say that, but some of us lost everything in that. My house was burned down. My family is gone now, and our sacred statue has been stolen. And it's all due to your comrades.
He'll just look a bit solemnly, like look down for a moment, and like kind of like grit his fists a bit, and what they did is inexcusable, and that is exactly why I tried to stop them. If I hadn't have done what I did, I don't know if there would be much of a village left. I know that I can't talk away what's happened, but I'm here to try and help, and that's not going to change no matter how hard you try to push me away.
She scoffs a bit. You get the sense that she's really kind of covering for a lot of anger that she wasn't able to do more when the Dao Fei attacked. And she turns on her heel, storms off, sword on her back still, and continues walking about the village. On your way back to the center of the village where Ponga and the others are, you run into Willow, who has come to address you all as she leans on her staff. Thank you all for your help, including you, Uvaro, it's not easy to act against everything you know and do the right thing, and we do thank you for that, even if some of our younger villagers don't quite understand that yet.
He will nod and just like he's still like kind of thinking about what was said, so he's just being a little quiet, but he'll nod and thank you. I don't know if I'm really deserving of too much thanks yet, but I'm doing what I can.
There's good in you, and I think that in time everyone else will come to see that. And she to turns to look over at Asori and Ponga. You both also helped greatly in the attack, and we appreciate it. I come to you, however, to ask for your assistance in another matter.
What can we do?
She points towards where the shrine was. You can see that it's been damaged in the attack. There's chunks out of the statues and the carvings. It looks like she started to earthbend some of them back, but it's going to take a lot more time than she's had so far to do it. She gestures at the shrine and says, "The peacock monkey statue that was stolen is more than just a statue. It's an offering to the spirit world, and I fear with that gone that we will have more instability in the village. Already, some of the springs nearby seem like they've started to dry up, and I fear for our crops in the coming harvest without the statue there to calm them." As she's talking, Bowen, the merchant, is a middle-aged man dressed in fairly fine clothing. Definitely got an attitude like he's the hot shit in town. Walks by and scoffs. "Willow, I've told you before, it's just a statue. Anything else that happens is mere superstition and coincidence. We don't need these to bother these young people any further. They've done enough. We need to continue focusing on rebuilding and prepare for any future attacks that might happen." Hey, what do you all do? Ponga, what do you do?
Sorry, can you say that again, please?
What are you doing as these two argue about what the next step should be?
Well, if you guys want my opinion in the discussion, I think that we should go recover the statue. It's not very good to disrupt the spirit realm.
Wow.
Willow nods and gestures, pointing. See, the young people, they are able to listen to their elders. Why aren't you, Bowen? You should know better than this. You've been raised here and you've seen what this statue has done. Before we had this, it was chaos every day in this village.
Well, I mean, even spiritual value aside, it is a belonging of your village, and surely you can understand how you all deserve it back, right, Bowen? I don't have a problem with going and knocking a few heads together.
I must make amends for what my old comrades have done, and I don't think it would be right of me to leave before I saw that statue returned.
Bone shrugs and he kind of throws his hands up. He's like, no one ever listens to sense around here. If you all want to march to your doom against the Delphi army, be my guest, I suppose. I can't seemingly talk you all out of this.
Well, we gotta send a message or else they're gonna keep coming and taking your stuff. I'm sure that'd be great for your bottom line, though.
Bowen does kind of a mild shrug. He's like, my bottom line is doing just fine, thank you. And I don't think there's anything else left in this village that they're going to want to come back for.
I'm gonna lean into Uvaro and go, that guy's not undercover, Delphi, right?
You don't recognize him at all, Uvaro?
No, but the way that he is like just like kind of just like trying to shoo this issue to the side is making me not like him. I'd rather rush into danger in the aid of others than sit here and let this village go into further waste and let those criminals do whatever they wish to with that. It's not the group that I joined when I started, and it's a mockery of what it should be. They've gone from being revolutionaries to just thugs.
Willow nods. Yes, I'm old enough to remember when the Red Ribbon stood more for something than, as you said, thuggery. Good that we have young people that remember what their roles are in these organizations and what they should strive for. You with that, Uvaro, you feel that like you're getting pushed a bit towards like your role principle. The words that Willow is saying are kind of they're acting on you a bit, unless you want to try and resist having your balance shifted. The way it works is that as the NPCs talk to you, occasionally they will attempt to move your balance in one direction or the other. You can allow that to happen, or you can try and roll to resist it.
I'm not too sure.
Well, if you allow it to happen, then your balance will shift one step towards roll. I believe it's at 0 right now. See what we had for the. That's how you put it in. Yeah, it looks like it's at 0 right now. If you allow it to happen, it'll move one step towards roll, and then anything that requires you to use that principle, you would use the +1. Anything that requires you to use freedom, it would be at a -1. Or you can try to resist it. And to resist it, you roll 2d6. There's no bonus to this roll. And you want to try and get a 7 through 9. Or a 10 or better is really good. It's about a 50-50 shot.
Well, I'll let it go to roll.
So it'll shift one step towards a roll. And Bowen continues in his little rant. I'm telling you, Willow, we don't need to send these young people off on a wild goose chase. These Daofei are probably miles away by now. Who even knows what direction they've gone? Can't you just make a new statue? Do we need to go off on this wild excursion? With that, he kind of just storms off in the direction of the market stalls. Will
You
just shakes
shouldn't
her
be
head.
so willing to give up so easily.
Willow nods. Exactly. I'm glad that some of you do understand what I'm trying to do in this village to keep things in balance. Just a shame that he's lost his way like this and doesn't remember what the principles of this village stand for. And she's kind of she walks away, shaking her head a bit. Once Willow is out of sight, Ivaro, the young woman that you ran into earlier, Hannah, you see her kind of come around the corner. She looks at you all and she's like, I heard what Bowen said, and I'm not sure about what his motives are here. He never used to be this concerned about safety or anything like this. Something's up. I don't know if I'd be able to figure out what it is without causing problems in the village. But you're not from here. You don't have any like preconceived notions. Maybe you could look into this, see what might be going on between Bowen and what are the things that are happening in this village.
Yeah, he did say some unsettling stuff.
Yeah, he seemed really adamant on just to forget about it.
The rich only have more money to gain, and I guess it wouldn't be above them to try and swindle a place that he lives out of it.
Well, what would you all like to do?
I'm gonna pull my cloak back, and like the fox that has been like draped over my shoulders under my cloak flops out lazily, and I'm gonna lean over him as he sleepily looks up at me, and I'm gonna go, Petrichor, follow the fancy looking merchant guy. If he goes anywhere weird, come back and get us and lead us to him, okay?
Well, your fox nods and kind of scurries off. And it's being stealthy enough. You trust that it'll be able to take care of what you asked it to do.
Apparently an ad started right after I said, I'm gonna.
I'm doing a NordVPN.
Oh, I imagine it'd be
Oh.
hard to spot a fox tailing you.
Yeah, it knows what to do to stay out of sight. Ponga, Uvaro, what would you like to do? Any ideas? Any plans?
I do have an idea for a plan, but it requires whispering.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Do you guys think if we look around the area of his living location, we might find something?
That would be an idea. That's a lead you could follow for sure. I'm sorry. Bowen's house is fairly easy to spot. It's the largest house in the village. Pretty fancy looking. Doesn't look like there's that many people around, maybe a couple servants. But, Uvar, what would you like to do?
Well, he agrees that they need to keep an eye on him or try to figure out something, but me being the criminal that I am and in handcuffs, I don't know how good the optics of me skulking around somebody's house is going to be. But I mean, we have a fox that's following him. We don't know if he went home. So we're not sure if he's at home.
He wasn't going in the direction of home. No. He was going towards the moon.
I mean, I'm all for trying to check out the house in some way, but if it's going to come to stealth and or breaking and entering, he's probably going to have to regroup, and if that comes to be the that outcome, if they need to break and enter to get information, that's going to have to be another regrouping. But I mean, he's down to go check out the house with Ponga.
Well, you do have the outlaw background. You would know how to, like, sneak about, break into a building. Like, those would be things in your skill set if you want to do that.
Yeah, we're just checking out to see if that's what we need to do first.
I'd rather avoid having to go over there if I can help it, but it is another alternative.
All right.
You think we should get a Sorry's thoughts on this?
Sorry, what do you think of what is your thoughts on the plan?
I'm not too hot on breaking and entering, but I'm not going to stop y'all if you want to go skulking around. I'll go take a nap and wait for my fox if anything happens.
Might draw less attention to only have one person sneaking about than all three of you.
Ooh. How about we maybe ask around the village what they think should be done, and about the merchant guy.
Yeah, there is an idea. You can go. The merchant stalls are fairly large, and there's like a bunch. There's a bunch of like traders, farmers, and stuff that peddle their wares there, and deal with the caravanners that come through town on occasion. The market's large enough that you would probably be able to like ask about without drawing Bowen's attention. He would be probably busy with his work. So if you wanted to just kind of ask around a bit, that is absolutely an option you could do. Anyone else have thoughts on that?
Information gathering sounds good. Like I said, breaking and entering is kind of the last ditch effort.
Yeah, I'm much more down for a day at the market.
Okay. Well, you head over to the market stalls. Some of them are still fairly beat up and damaged. There's some cabbages that have been overturned. People are slowly gathering everything up and repairing the stalls and fixing whatever damage was dealt.
Panga goes over to a group of people who are working together on a big structure. She's kind of dog skips and just waves and saying, "Hello, I'm here to help."
Oh, greetings. I'm Shufen. I work the orchards outside town. I'm here fixing my stall after the Dalfei attack. If you would like to help, you can always hammer some of these stalls back together, and offers a hammer and gestures towards a container of nails.
Ooh, I'm not used to this, but heck yes, always learning something new. She goes to hammer on the nail, and as she does, she asks him what was his name again?
Shufen.
Tufen?
Yeah, Shufen.
So Tufen, what do you think about the statue being stolen? You guys want it returned, or what do you and your group think?
Oh, I don't know. Willow's been going on for the last day or so about how dangerous it is to not have the offering statue in the shrine, but I don't know. I've lived here all my life, and I've never had any concerns about the spirit world. One of the other workers there's like, "Yeah, Shufen, but that statue has been there since we were born. We've never had it missing." That's what Will is concerned about, is now that it's finally no longer there. Of course, the village has had good fortune since that was gone, or since that's been here, but now that it's gone. Shufen shrugs. All right, Chong, I don't know. Will is the one to talk to about all of this spiritual stuff. But as for me, I just need to get my stall back in order and make sure that these apples get back out on the road when the next caravan comes through. Everything's getting more and more dangerous lately, though.
What about Bowen? He seemed pretty adamant of just everyone forgetting it. Has him and the Willow been in conflict for a long time?
You see him kind of look over towards where Bowen's stall is, and then Shufen just kind of glances back and looks down at the ground. He just kind of shrugs. It's like, I don't know if I need to really get into that. That seems a bit, village gossip is all it is. I don't really know anything about what's been happening. What do you do, Panga?
I'd say she uses airbending to finish up the stall a little bit by hanging stuff up
If you want, you can try and perhaps plead with Shufen to like open up a bit more. He seems like he might know something that he's not really willing to um, share right now, but you might be able to talk him into it. If you do a plead move, so you would roll with Harmony.
Okay, I'll do that.
So 2d6 and add your Harmony stat to it.
Give me a moment. I'm trying to find my Harmony stat.
No, no worries.
So I would do like 2d6 plus 1.
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh, it's a roll.
She's used
Flash-
to
flash
Foundry and
roll.
roll 20.
So it won't work if you edit it. You have to just read it. Sorry. The dice bot is fiddly.
She's learning.
Hey.
What do we get?
Application did not respond.
Oh, let me see if I can get it to. Fiddly technology. Modern technology, always the best. 7. There you go. So on a 7, they do need a little bit more convincing. So Shufen just kind of like looks around a bit more. It's like, well, you see, Bowen's the most powerful man in this village. And, like, if you make him angry, he can like starve out your market stall. The caravanners will stop dealing with you. Like, it's, like, it's not really worth risking all of my business just for some village gossip. He could really like, he could bring the hammer down if I'm not careful. Seems like he might need a bit more like evidence that this is the right course, some guidance in making the right choices, or sweet talk him a little bit. What do you do to convince him that this is the right thing to do to open up?
Give me a moment to think on that. Well, what if you go to the person who controls his products coming in?
Well, that's all the caravanners. Like, that's what gets Bowen all. He's the one with the most money. The caravanners come, and they listen to the guy with the money. If and he says not to, if you do you really think it's worth risking my business just to like to tell people what I saw? It could put me in like a lot of risk. But maybe I should do something.
Well, if what you think isn't true, then you won't be get into trouble if you tell me. I promise I will not tell anyone if it's not true.
Shufin nods. You're right. It's important to take actions when you know something, or if you're able to do something. And, at his words that it's where he's at his words saying it's important to take action. Manga, you feel like a little kind of you feel like you're taking those words to heart. And it's going to shift your balance towards action if you do not resist it. So it's up to you if you take those words to heart and move towards your principle of action, or resist it and try and stay where you're at.
I don't resist.
Okay. So it'll move your balance one step towards action. So like what that'll do is, if you ever have anything that you need to roll with action, you'll be rolling at a +1 bonus now. But forgiveness will be at a -1 because it kind of pulling you in one direction right now.
Okay.
Well, Shufin leans in. He says, "Well, you're right. It's important to take action when you're the one who knows what to do." And he says, "I saw Bowen about a week or so ago. Late at night, he was walking out of the village, kind of looking over his back to see if anyone was following him. And I thought it was odd at the time, but I didn't really think anything of it. Maybe he was just going for a walk. It was a nice night, but I don't know. It seemed a little suspicious." And he gestures out towards a bamboo grove that you can see a ways out of town. But he gestures out towards the bamboo groves. "I saw him going out that direction. It was pretty late at night. I don't know what he was doing. I thought he was just taking a walk at the moment, but now the way he's been acting lately, I wonder if there was something else happening." What do you do, Ponga? Do you share this with the others?
Yeah, Pongo will. Yeah, she'll share the information with the others. It's like, oh, thank you for your honesty. I hope on some level it's a relief to say that to someone.
He knows. You're right. I need to get back to working on myself, but thank you for your help. And thank you for helping fix up my skull. And he takes the hammer from you and he goes back to hammering on hammering the boards back on and getting it back level again. You head back to the group, and you said you were going to share the information that you got.
Yes.
Asori and Duvara, you find out that one of the local orchard tenders saw Bowen about a week ago walking off towards the bamboo grove late at night, acting kind of odd.
Sounds like a good place to start our search.
Other thing that says that when I taunt enemies, they deal reduced damage, or there's another one that says when I taunt enemies, I deal more.
Do we want to wait until nightfall and go check out the bamboo forest, or should we
Well, if we go
go check it
now,
out now?
if we go now, I could look around and see if we can find any like signs of like tracks and stuff. Perhaps we can figure out where they were meeting or whatever, and worst case scenario, we can set up like not an ambush, but like a place for us to observe quietly, potential ambush. Is that a thing?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
That sounds
ambushes
good.
are all
Yeah.
about potential. How far away is the bamboo forest from the town?
it's within sight, but like it's a ways out. You could get there and back before night fell if you left now.
I will, using earthbending. You're gonna see Uvaro like kind of like crouch down, and he will just really quickly like jab the ground, and then all of a sudden you'll feel a rumbling, and a giant badger mole will dig out of the ground right nearby where I was, and immediately start sniffing the people that it has never encountered before.
Usually, right? And Eric wants to be holding still.
This is Lomi.
Everyone's in the village is a little shocked. I mean, they know what badger moles are, but many of them have never actually seen one, let alone one that's large enough to ride on. They're all just, oh gosh, is that a real badger mole? Where did you get it?
Yeah. When I was young, I was out in the wilds in the mountains, and one day I was playing a bit too far from home, and I got lost, and I found myself inside of a cave, and Lomi and his parents were digging through the mountainside, as it were, and they guided me back home, and I don't know what it was, but Lomi here just kind of stuck to me, so he kept visiting me throughout the years, and by the time I was big enough to do anything on my own, he was big enough for me to ride him.
So the one
Everyone's marveling at it. Bowen comes.
Everyone will notice immediately that his eyes, like he's blind, so his eyes are just completely milky white over, and he has a big like star nose mole nose that is like, I'll say he goes up to since Asari has an animal, Asari immediately gets like face push giant nose with like starfish tentacles like gripping around them for a second.
you do a shout, which applies all of those standing in place buffs to your team.
Oh, sorry. What do? You've just been sniffed by a giant mole.
When it sniffs me, I pet it, but I'm mumbling under my breath. Girl pulls out her fox. Nobody cares. Fucking badger mole. Everybody loses their shit. Kiyoshi likes foxes. Fucking.
After Asari is thoroughly sniffed, he will then turn to Ponga and do the same, and then after he's done introducing himself to Ponga, I will like put my hand on his shoulder, and he will instinctively just like lower himself down for all of us to climb onto his back.
got like one stud on the server, and it can't
Everyone riding on Lomi?
play Apex, so. But
Yeah. And as I get
I
on,
also need the moment.
I'm sure she hops on too, but as I hop on, I go, well, you can't ride Grandpa, so.
the ones that they don't activate, so.
Is that your fox's name?
I'm letting your weapons kill that.
Sometimes.
All right.
Well, you
And
set off
once
towards.
every-
Oh,
Oh,
go ahead.
sorry. I was gonna say once everyone is like on his back, he will. I will tap him twice on the back of his head, and I'll honestly just yip yip. I'll do what, and I'll just do the what the ability states, and I'll say yip yip, and he will. He'll dig. He travels via digging, but it's like he uses earth bending, so they're earth benders. So he just makes a cavern, and as he enters, closes it up behind him, and we're going towards bamboo forest, and he can travel via earth sense. Once we get to like the mouth of the forest, essentially, or like a little bit into it, he will dig out and then just kind of like start walking around a bit.
Ponga, sorry. Is this the first time you have traveled through Badger Mole tunneling?
Yes. But I am very nonchalant, even though I'm very excited inside. I imagine that Asori, like, rolls up a smoke and lights it with fire bending and just goes, well, this is pretty cool.
And then the rank double the actual aura radius for how big the buff is, and like how far your teammates can be away.
As we travel through the tunnel, Urvaro will also just be humming just a song, just a random Earth Village song.
Well, you've arrived at the Bamboo Grove. It's been about a week since you heard that Bowen was here, so you may be a little difficult to find some tracks, but you do have a pretty, hopefully a pretty good wilderness mercenary. Sorry, are you going to like search around the area?
Yeah.
Well, that would fall under using your skills and training, as you are like, wilderness background. You are the one who would know how to track down these any tracks that are there. So go ahead and roll with focus.
Apparently it doesn't like capitals either.
Oh, yeah, no, it's finicky about that.
And then I can reuse the archive traits for varying
Oh, so perfect timing. If someone would, so a 6 is just short of what you need in order to get a success. However, well, less a success, more a hit. You can still succeed on a miss. It just something bad might happen. However, if someone feels like they would be able to assist in this situation, you can choose to do so. Ponga,
What
Navarro,
what is push your luck?
Push your luck is if you're doing something that you aren't trained in.
Okay.
So if you are like doing something that, or if you're trying to like avoid something dangerous, then you would be pushing your luck. But if it's something that you feel like you're trained in, then it goes into relying on skills and training. Uvaro, you might be able to use some of your earthbending to help find tracks. Perhaps.
All right. I will assist.
So you just mark 1 fatigue and give Asori a +1 or a minus. Yeah, +1. I believe is
All right.
the.
There's some
I mean,
really cool
hold on.
synergy
I'm pretty sure it's a plus. +1's all you need, anyways.
kind of thinking can happen with multi-classing that are just
Some of the different.
okay.
Yes, +1 to the roll by marking a fatigue. So on a 7 now.
Like if you swing your
Uh,
sword, it would trigger it on the third mistake.
So the GM will tell you how your approach might lead to unexpected consequences. Except those consequences are mark a fatigue.
Like if the weapon has a proc chance that it does something, if a trait.
Well, the consequence here, I think it's going to take a bit longer than you expected to find these tracks. So you'll be busy searching the area until about nightfall, or you can mark a fatigue and get it done now.
Well, I mean, we know the meeting's at nightfall, so I'm willing to just accept that it takes me until nightfall to find where they had the meeting before, and then we can locate a spot to set up our ambush from there.
Okay. Yeah, so you do manage to find the tracks. It's been about a week, and they're kind of faint and everything now. But with Uvaro's earthbending helping you kind of clear out some of the dust and highlight the tracks, you are able to track them down. You find a set of tracks leading from the village. They move into the bamboo grove, and then you also find the same footprints leading back away to the village. So someone came to the bamboo grove and then went back to the village about the same route that they came. Following the tracks further into the bamboo grove, it takes a bit longer. It looks like they went further into the bamboo grove than you had originally expected. And about towards nightfall, you find where the tracks stop, and there is a clearing in the bamboo grove. You haven't like come out fully into the clearing when you notice that there is the light of some torches here in the clearing already. What do you all do?
I'm gonna assume, since we all know each other fairly well at this point, that Ponga has taught me some basic sign language, and I'm gonna sign quiet.
It was fine, but what I found was that
Yeah, sounds good. Ponga, Uvaro, what are you doing? You've been alerted to some torchlight in the clearing up ahead.
I will have Lomi silently just like go underground and just wait for if we need him to come out, and I will as best I can use some earthbending to kind of make a small trench for us to like duck into.
All right, Ponga, what would you like to do?
Well, since a trend is being made, Pongo is gonna hide in it with them.
Okay. Does anyone want to like peek out through the bamboo stalks? You want to look around, take stock of the situation? Anyone feel like they want to do that?
I am going to try to use my fire bending to make sure that the torchlight isn't getting cast in our direction. And then I want to kind of like shimmy like within reason close enough to like get like maybe a view, but make sure that for sure I can hear what's happening.
And Uvaro will also move using earth bending. He will kind of just keep himself buried under a layer of dirt, but just enough that he can peek himself out, and he will move in close to as well to listen in.
Actually, is there anything around the general area that is heavy in for foliage, like tall?
Oh yeah, there's bamboo stalks all over the place. They're like crazy tall.
Is bamboo pretty easily to stabilize yourself on if you're like high up?
If you're an airbender, you could totally do it. You could just like bend the air around the stalk and hold it up. But yeah, they use bamboo for like scaffolding and stuff.
Yeah. Ponga will.
They make houses out of this stuff. It should be sturdy.
Ponga's gonna air bend herself up to the higher parts, which would be harder for anyone to notice if anything is above. And she is gonna proceed to stay completely still.
Okay. Sorry, we'll start with you. Sounds like you are going to try to like firebend the torches unseen to keep you all in the shadows, right?
Correct.
Is this something that you've ever tried doing before?
I imagine, being a wild child, that I have spent many a night playing with campfires. So I imagine, like, and I spend a lot of time out in nature, so I'm sure that this is like within my wheelhouse of like, yeah, I know how to like hide in the shadows of a campfire at night, sort of deal. It's just a few more campfires.
All right. Rely on your skills and training then. Roll with focus. Ooh. Almost. And Ponga, have you ever tried to stand on a bamboo plant before? Or have you ever tried to balance on something very slim before, like a flagpole or anything like that?
No.
That will be pushing your luck, so roll with passion.
Give me a moment.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, that's
2d6, right?
Yes.
by the way, Old Traps is totally like
It doesn't like capitals.
max duration, max amount, max area. Oh come on. They're so like I was playing Old Traps and Arrow Trap the other day.
You can't edit it.
So fucking busted.
Yeah, you have to type it in a second time. The bot won't recognize if you edit the. Okay, very good. And then Uvaro, you said you were creeping up closer to try and like listen in on what was happening with the torchlights?
Essentially, I'm digging a tunnel, crawling through it, and mimicking the badger moles. Just staying in it. I'm just like essentially buried myself, and I'm moving myself through the earth, and just keeping enough of my head out that I can see.
Okay. Well, sorry. You are still able to keep the torches casting shadows towards you. No one notices that you're doing this, but right as you get like the shadows aimed at your group, that is when Bowen shows up, and your fox comes bounding over near you, staying out of sight. Your fox knows what to do and isn't going to blow your cover, but comes sneaking over to where you're at. And Bowen arrives at this time. Uh, Ponga, you are able to get a good position up onto the bamboo. However, you will be kind of away from the other two as you kind of stumble a bit. The bamboo stalk that you originally chose is a little bit weaker than you thought it was, and it starts to sway, so you hop over a couple other bamboo stalks until you catch your balance and stabilize. So you are now on the other side of the clearing away from everybody else. Haven't been spotted yet. Bowen arrives, as I said, and you hear him kind of starting to whisper with some of the people here in the torches. Uvara, you've got the shadows on your side. You are able to creep up close enough without anyone spotting you. You do have the opportunity, if you want, since you said you wanted to listen in on what was happening, to assess the situation.
Yes.
That will roll with creativity.
Yeah, this looks fucking sweet.
All right. I'm sure that's not a great skill for me. Oh, it's a 0. So I mean, even's even.
Could be worse.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
I
Got a
like rolling
6.
double threes. 2d6 because I have a 0, so I don't get no plus. 2d6.
Mhm.
Rolling threes.
Well, you creep up close, and you're creeping up closer and closer, trying to hear what they're saying. Sounds like Bowen is waiting for someone. They're kind of just Bowen's asking like, when are they getting here? You hear some muffled voices responding, "Oh, he's almost here." And then you hear a familiar voice. You hear the voice of Jia Long, who was one of the Daofei lieutenants in the Red Ribbon Daofei. Did you know Long vaguely well? You know more of him than you know him personally. You know that he was a firebender who fled the civil war in the Fire Nation, joined the Daofei, and is a bit of a show off. Really likes to kind of do things as flashy as possible. At this point, you realize that there are also around about 8 of your former comrades here holding the torches, meeting with Bowen the merchant. What do you all do?
yeah, yeah.
Huh. It's a solid question.
Well, as you're waiting, you hear Jalong step forward. Bowen, We received your message. What do you want? Bowen fairly angry says, I want my payment that I was promised. I was told by your leader that I would receive a handsome sum for my assistance, and I'm here to collect on that debt. So, Jalong just kind of chuckles. Oh, you've come to collect, have you? All by yourself. You hear the, just little poof as another flame pops into being over Law's hand, and he steps forward. You don't seem to realize you have no leverage here, Bowen. Look around. You aren't the one going to be making any demands right now. And you all see Zhao Long just kind of juggle the flame across his fingers and rolls up his shoulders as he takes it back to his other hand. Very intimidating. And you see Bowen starting to sweat, and he takes a step back. Like, now look, we can work out a deal here. Just I still need my payment. I can't just. The village was attacked. People lost their homes. This has to be for more than just nothing. And at this point, Jalong just kind of raises his hand, and the Dalfei thugs that are with him take a step forward, looking like they're intent on some violence. What do you all do
Well,
now?
Seeing my old, I guess, higher up of mine, and then seeing how they're encroaching on him, I'm going to react, and using my earthbending, I'm going to. I think. Let me real quick. I need to double check something before I fully say this. Well, yeah, no, that just works with friendlies. But I'm
Which
going
one?
to. I was looking at my Wall of Perfection move to see what I could do with that, and it allows me to protect people from a single attack, but I don't need to use that just yet. But
Okay.
I will come out of the ground using earthbending to throw a wall between them and him, and push him with the wall back, and just kind of in a hopes of getting the guy's attention to see me, because I know if he sees somebody that was a subordinate, he's not going to be too happy, and it's going to pull some attention away, and hopefully buy some time for my friends.
That sounds like you're relying on your skills and training with earthbending, so go ahead and roll with focus.
Okay. Cool, my focus is a +2. That's always good.
I was also gonna say that I was gonna hop in and try and block the fire, before it hit the guy, using my sword, and just have it the fire starts spinning around my sword.
All right, we will also have that. What did you roll?
8.
8. Rose, Asori and Ponga, if you want to both jump in here and assist, we could bump that up to a 10.
Yeah, if you want to take what I said as an assist, then by all means.
Yeah. Ponga, do you want to hop in with some airbending?
Yeah. Who am I closest to?
You are on the other side of the clearing from Asori and Uvaro. The closest to you would be some of the Dalfei thugs. They are kind of in a horseshoe. They step forward around Zhao Long, who is in the center of the horseshoe behind them. So there's just a ring of 8 Dalfei. Asori and Uvaro are on one end of the horseshoe. You are on the other end, Ponga. And then Bowen is kind of in between the two groups of you.
I mark a fatigue for the assist, right?
Yes, you and Ponga both mark a fatigue for the assist.
Am I restricted on my airbending for anything?
Restricted how?
Well, I thought about putting up a wall of air in front of the Daily and the merchant.
Yeah, that is absolutely a thing that you are capable of doing as an assist, is to help hold off the Dalfei.
Yeah.
So you both mark a fatigue. That'll get you plus a further +2 to relying on your skills and training. So Uvaro, you, with the assistance of your companions, you hit it off perfectly. You have the wall set up. Ponga comes in with a blast of air, pushing the Dalfei back as Asori jumps in and kind of fairly theatrically, it sounds like, grabs the flame off of Zhao Long's hand and wraps it around her sword. So Bowen is now fairly safe behind a wall. It sounds like we're going to be going into a combat exchange. So the combat exchanges, you have 3 approaches. At the start of an exchange, you will each choose what approach you want to do. The 3 approaches are defending and maneuvering, and the stat you roll with that is focus. You can advance and attack, and the stat you use for that is passion. Or you can evade and observe, and the stat you use for that is either creativity or harmony. And when you evade and observe, you also get to remove 1 fatigue that you have gained. So what will happen is, first I will choose what the NPCs are going to do for their approaches, and then you all choose your approach. We will go down the list from defend and maneuver to advance and attack to evade and observe. You will each do your rolls, and then after everyone has done their rolls, we kind of play out what everyone did. Everyone gets whatever consequences happen, and then possibly move into another round of combat exchanges if anyone is still in the fight. So let me write down real quick what those 2 are going to do. The minor Dalfei mooks, those are all going to be considered a single group. So they will just have 1 fatigue track for themselves. But Zhao Long is fairly he's got a name. He's important, so he will have his own separate fatigue track and will take his own separate actions. So let me look what I gave these guys. Oh, yeah, okay.
But late game stuff, when you get the level 60 monsters in these outside zones like we're at right now, you're gonna have to build specifically to be able to kill it. Otherwise,
Okay, so Ponga, what approach are you going to take in this combat exchange? Defend and maneuver, advance and attack, or evade and observe.
I'm like consistently getting information again for like 8 damage or so.
And if you look on, let me repost the screenshot that Rose took of the different combat exchanges, so that we have that available.
I'm gonna go with evade and observe at the time.
So there's the options for the combat approaches and what they will do. So you're going to evade and observe. Uvaro, what approach are you taking in this combat exchange?
Defend and maneuver.
All right. And Asori, what approach are you taking?
I think I'm gonna do defend and maneuver.
Okay. The thugs are advancing and attacking, and Xiaolong is also going to advance and attack. So the first thing we will do is we will have Uvaro and Asori go ahead and you both roll with focus. Oh, hell yeah, Asori.
This is my bread and
Oh.
butter, bitch.
By the way,
Wow.
before the combat would have started, I would have had my my badger mole would have come out.
Yeah, I
And-
assumed your badger mole was jumping in with you as you can fight with it. So
When he does come in, though, he makes a large ring around the arena, just a ring of earth, not like it's not like a wall or anything. It's just essentially he's made like a divot to where it's now just a signifier that we're in a ring.
Okay, I like it. Uvaro, what did you get your roll in yet?
1 second.
Oh, no worries.
+2. Yeah.
Dang, all right. You both are doing real good. Sorry, I noticed you didn't have a second, or you didn't have your other combat techniques selected. Did you have one in mind? I didn't see one written on your character sheet that you put in.
No, I was trying to figure that out still.
Okay.
I'll pull up
Feel
the
free to
thing
come
real.
up with it.
Yeah, I'll peel up
Yeah.
the sheet real quick and figure it out.
No worries. If you want to take one that's for defend and maneuver, I will also allow that. Because on a 10 or better, you can use a learned technique and make it into practice. So that'll be the first time you've actually used it in anger. And that makes it slightly easier to use it in the future.
I know what I'm doing.
Uvaro, what are you doing? You may mark a fatigue to use a learned technique for defend and maneuver. You can use a practice technique, or you can do 2 different basic or mastered techniques on a 12. So the basic techniques are ready, retaliate, and seize a position. And then if you have any advanced techniques, you can use those.
I will use my learn technique. I'll take a fatigue and actually
it
no,
to-
I'll save that. I'll actually Wall of Perfection actually fits. I'm just going to so is everyone currently together?
You and Asori are on one side of the clearing. Tonga is
Okay.
unfortunately on the other side of the clearing. You're all pretty much close enough to get in. No one is currently up in melee yet. You all kind of have the element of surprise there. So if you want to seize a position and move into a specific spot, you are able to do that without a lot of issue right now. No one is currently, quote unquote, engaged with you.
And
So you're kind of free to move about.
I just need to. It's based on like people directionally being near me, so I'd say that Asari is the only one who is currently directionally near me. So I'm gonna use my Wall of Perfection to. So it marks 1 fatigue, but it's my mastered move to. I create around me and Rose. We have a protection against 1 hit. The next hit that would go against us is blocked.
Okay.
What we're gonna do.
Mark 1 fatigue to block a single attack towards the wall.
Pick up on gold trace for.
All right, excellent. So you have earth bent a wall around the two of you. Sorry. Oh, you get 2 because you get to choose 2 mastered or basic techniques. So you can pick one more technique. Ready, retaliate, or seize a position. Ready allows you to give a fictionally appropriate status to you or someone near you.
I'll do retaliate.
Okay, you're gonna do a retaliate, sorry. Remember, you get two mastered or basic techniques as well.
Okay.
So you can also pick another one.
Okay, I'm trying to figure it out.
Okay, no worries. Uvaro, which other technique would
I'm going to seize a position and put myself physically between the I can't remember his name, the lieutenant
Bowman?
and
Jalon. Jalon is the
between
Dalfay.
those two,
Earlier on in the game, you're not gonna use it.
Okay.
Just and when I do, I'll make sure like I'm doing this in a way that's showing that I am protecting Bolin to him. Like I want him to realize that people that like should be mad at him are actively defending him right now.
An option you could do for seizing a position, establish an advantageous position, earthbend the ground underneath you up and take the high ground.
All right.
All right. So I will say that
Like people might get cut just for
yeah, we'll give you the advantageous position there.
All right.
Or if you want, you could potentially give you and Asori the favored status if you wanted to spend a fatigue on readying. Favored allows you to take an additional technique in the next exchange.
Sure, I'll do that.
Okay, so you have thrown up a wall, earth bent the earth beneath you and Asori up to give yourself the high ground. Asori, what are you taking? What actions are you taking for this?
Like, we're gonna have to make some calls at 3 videos. I like the idea that, like, early on, sort of, like, rank up a relic or something, you're paying, like, 50 or 100 gold. Yeah.
What it? In what way? Huh?
What 2 techniques are you doing? You said you wanted to take retaliate for one of them. And you get one more basic or mastered technique.
Oh, it's in the party that goes in.
Let's see what you have here.
Invite. Oh, that's
You want to dash over to Zhao Long and get ready to try fighting him?
Sure.
All right. So your enemies are both advancing and attacking. So the thugs are charging in. They're just going to rush in to all three of you. And I need to pull it up again because I closed it. I'm a goober.
By the way, I'd love to do either 8 or 12 person servers.
They're going to advance straight at you all to strike with full force. So, all of you have about 2 Dao Fei each come charging at you. You all either take a condition or 2 fatigue, your choice.
Me and Rose do have the defensive
Yes, so
walls around
you
us.
can spend the fatigue to just ignore that. You can spend a fatigue to ignore that attack.
I thought my attack, like I took the fatigue to just do that. I have to take another fatigue to use it.
Oh, you took. You don't need to spend a fatigue because you have that one mastered. So you don't need to spend a technique
well,
to do
in
it. You
the-
just
in
spend
the
the
move
one
it-
fatigue. Yeah,
In the
nor,
move
like,
it does.
it's just the one fatigue to counter the attack. I'm sorry.
Okay.
So I did
you
retaliate, right? So that says steel yourself for their blows each time a foe inflicts fatigue, a condition, or shifts your balance in this exchange. Inflict 1 fatigue on that foe.
Yep. So you can retaliate on them, and what are you doing in retaliation? Firebending, swordplay.
I'm gonna stab him with my sword, coated in his own fire.
Excellent, excellent. Ponga, are you going to take a condition, or are you going to take 2 fatigue?
What happens when I take a condition?
So what happens? So the way it works is you have your fatigue. Once you are out of fatigue, you can no longer voluntarily choose to take more fatigue. And if anyone would inflict fatigue on you, you have to mark a condition instead. Once all of your conditions are marked, you are taken out of the fight. Like something, you are unconscious, injured, captured, something bad happens to you, you are no longer able to continue fighting. You can get rid of conditions through having another person like try and give you emotional support, or each condition has a trigger that you can act out to get rid of the condition. So, for example, angry. If you have the angry condition, you can break something important or lash out at a friend. At the end of the scene, you will no longer be angry because you took an action to get rid of it. In the same way, if you have afraid, if you run away from something, you will no longer be afraid. So conditions are essentially not quite the same as your hit points, but kind of. Where once you run out of conditions to mark, you are then out of the fight. But it's your choice. You can take 2 fatigue, or you can mark 1 condition. Fatigue is slightly easier to get rid of than conditions, I think.
And let's say I choose one condition, then the whatever negative thing I have to take that on account of my next attack.
It doesn't take any penalties to your attack rolls, but it will inflict penalties to other rolls. Let me pull it up real quick.
Yeah.
So it doesn't impact your combat rolls, but if you have, for example, angry marked, you get a -2 to comfort or support and assess the situation because you are angry. So the conditions inflict penalties to certain moves, but they don't inflict any penalties to combat. And then if you do the condition that gets rid of if you do the thing that gets rid of the condition, you can clear it and no longer be affected by that.
Well,
I'm sorry, what was that last part again?
If you do the thing that clears the condition, like breaking something if you're angry or taking risky action if you're feeling insecure, you then get rid of the condition and you no longer take the penalty for it.
like,
You don't have to do that. That's just an option.
say there's 12 people here. They're gonna be killing shit.
Alright, so I guess to learn this, I will take the condition foolish.
Okay. Insecure. Oh no, yeah, foolish. I don't know why it says. Where's the? Okay, yeah, foolish. Why do I have a different one on my interesting? Afraid, angry, foolish.
For getting receipt from your weapons, but you also have to get a receipt from somebody else. Like
My DM screen has a different list on them. That's interesting. Okay, yes, take foolish. So you and then Jia Long is also going to take his action. He is also going to advance an attack. And sounds like Asori has jumped into the fray with him, so he will aim an attack there.
because with this coldest thing,
Which one's he going to take?
they're gonna be outside of coldest.
Oh yeah, pinpoint. That's a good one.
Okay, so I'm
So
trying
you're
to
along.
I'm trying to understand how techniques work. So we have all
Go
of
for
the basic techniques, right? So like I
Yes,
did
you have all the
retaliate. I did retaliate, so that's a basic technique.
Yes.
So you said we get 2 additional techniques on top of that out of the handbook?
You get 2 since you rolled higher than a 10. Normally, you only get to pick 1 technique. If you roll a 10 or better, you get to pick 2.
Oh.
So that's who you took retaliate and then seize a position to move into engagement with Jia Long.
Okay. I understand. But that's also how, like, if I have tag team, that, like, that would be a technique?
Yes.
Okay.
And if you have that one like at learned, you can if you roll a 10, you can then use your learned technique. It'll upgrade to practice, so it's a bit easier to use it in the future, and then you can use whatever the effect is for that.
So what do we have for like we got 1 technique then that we've learned otherwise?
You have
or?
one. Yeah, you have 1 that you have at mastered rank from your playbook, and then you have 1 additional one that you get to choose, and that will be at learn.
Okay, that's what
And
I
that's
was lost on. Thank you.
Yeah. Good?
Yep.
All right. Well, Jia Long is also going to pull his sword, a very thin dueling sword, and he is going to just like go straight for your vitals, Asori, and going to just pinpoint thrust right through your defenses and will inflict 2 fatigue and impaired on you. You do get to retaliate, so that will inflict a fatigue back on him.
Oh boy.
And so you just mark
Each
2
time,
fatigue on yours.
each time a foe inflicts fatigue, a condition, or shifts your balance in this exchange, inflict 1 fatigue on that foe. So wouldn't
Yes.
it be?
Technically, impaired isn't a condition; it's a status. The conditions are like afraid, angry, guilty, foolish, troubled. Those ones.
Would I still be able to mark a fatigue and just stop that with my wall of perfection?
It says 1 attack on it, right?
1 second. It says. Sorry, I had just had it up and then I had to exit out. So it's create a perfect wall of defense around yourself and any allies directly next to you. Mark 1 fatigue to block a single attack towards the wall or keep an enemy at bay who tries to penetrate the wall.
You know what? It doesn't say you can only do it once. So if you want to throw it a second time and mark another fatigue to prevent that, go right ahead.
I shall.
Okay.
Thank you. That would have been a.
So as Xiaolong thrusts in, you earthbend up a rock that pops out of the ground, knocking his hand out of the way. As Asori dives in with another sword blow of her own to retaliate against Xiaolong's attack. Very nice. And then we come to Ponga. Go ahead, Ponga. You get to remove 1 fatigue if you have any marked. I think you have 1 right now.
Yep.
You get to remove that 1 fatigue, and then you get to choose if you want to roll with creativity or harmony.
Finding visual form is the draw is the made on the client, but the
I'd like to roll with harmony.
Okay, go ahead and roll with harmony. 2d6 plus whatever your harmony is.
my brain is appearing disappearing. Because he's
Wow, you are all rolling. You are all high rolling for your first combat. That's awesome.
yeah.
Ponga, you get to choose if you want to use a learned technique. You don't have any practice techniques right now, so you can either, if you have a technique that uses, if you have a learned technique that uses evade and observe, you can use that, or you can use 2 different, basic or mastered techniques. Let me see what your starting one is for that real quick. You're the idealist, correct?
Yes.
That's what I thought.
Okay. Yeah.
Disorient is advanced in it. And what other technique did you take? Did you pick one?
When you're outside,
I don't think so. Let me pick one real quick.
No worries. I posted a screenshot with all of the universal and airbending techniques in the general channel. If you look in the media, you will be able to find them there.
There is one that I want to use, but it looks like it's the rare technique, so
Which one is that?
shockwave. I mean, I'm up in bamboo.
Well, I did give Uvaro a rare technique, so if you want to pick that one, I will allow it.
Alright, I will take shockwave.
Okay. Oof. Ooh. Okay. That's going to be pretty awesome. So that one you currently have learned. You can mark a fatigue and make it a practice technique if you want. and then
Okay.
you can go ahead and use it. All right. Shockwave, you leap into the air and hurtle back to the ground, sending a massive burst of pressurized air all around you. You mark 2 fatigue, so you're up to 3 now, I believe.
One fatigue went down, so it should be 0, then 2, I think.
Plus 1 to use the learn technique. Because the first
okay.
time you use the learn technique, you have to mark 1 fatigue. And then after that, it is practiced, and you no longer have to pay for it.
But then again,
Alright.
So you mark 2 fatigue, and then everyone in the area, including allies, is thrown away. Luckily, you are on the other side of the clearing from Uvaro and Asori, so I don't think they're close enough for this. But all of the thugs that came running over to you are. So they get bowled away in that blast of air and are stunned unless they mark 4 fatigue. They don't currently have 4 fatigue to use. So they are just simply going to be stunned. And
Yeah.
so they will not be able to take any actions in the next exchange.
Oh,
So that was pretty effective. So as the dust settles after Ponga's massive meteor strike into the ground, the majority of the Dao Fei thugs are just lying on the ground, stunned after the shockwave hit them. Asori and Zhao Long have been trading sword blows for a moment, and Uvaro has earthbent a wall around himself and Asori, and also knocked away a fairly accurately aimed strike towards his companion Asari. So we will move into one more round of combat exchanges, because they're still reasonably in the fight. Zhao Long is definitely able to handle at least one of you, possibly 2. He's pretty cocky. He's not going anywhere yet. So he's going to pick his he will pick his approach really quick. We are going to do that one.
But unless we make late game mob really tanky and you actually have to spend several seconds to build up with all your shit, then to keep the numbers high.
Ponga, what approach are you going to take in this second combat exchange? Defend and maneuver, advance and attack, or evade and observe?
Attack and evade. Advance and attack.
All right, Uvaro, what are you going to do in this exchange?
defend and maneuver.
Defend and maneuver. And Asori, what are you doing?
Advance and attack.
All right, so Zhao Long is going to evade and observe. So, Uvaro, go ahead and roll with focus for defending and maneuvering.
Yeah. But that.
Oof.
What'd you get this time?
5.
Oh, not as good this time. So, on a miss.
It does say I can click from my balance, right?
Yep, you can. I was gonna say you can move your balance away from center. So you are currently at roll +1, I believe. So if you move to roll +2, you can still take 1 action. You can take 1 basic, or you can just use
What if
1
I'm
basic.
favored?
If you are favored, you always get to pick one extra one, even if you miss. So you don't have to necessarily shift your balance if you don't want to. Or you could shift your balance and do two.
But I'd only be able to do basic or mastered ability.
Uh,
Or just
yeah, you can
basic.
only use a basic or a mastered, or if you shift your balance, you can only do a basic.
Okay. Yeah, I'll shift my balance.
All right, are you going to take two?
Yeah. And I'm going to retaliate and
Also, you can also do some like
I'm going to seize a position and I'm going to drop God, I'm never gonna learn this person's name. Dalong, I'm going to like essentially make a hole appear below him so that he falls and stumbles a bit, and I'm gonna try and like impede him, like knock him off his feet.
Okay, so retaliate and ready, it sounds like. Ready yourself or your environment, assigning or clearing a fictionally
Yeah, that one.
appropriate.
Yeah.
Okay, so mark 1 fatigue for that.
Alrighty.
Let's see what this is doing. Okay. And then Tonga and Asori, you're both advancing attacking, so roll with passion for that one.
like they're probably gonna have to make police, especially if it's really deal with all the damage they're gonna take. But you can also do things for like you have like a vanguard that's small, but like you have a war that spawns into like larger behind something.
Oh, wow, you're going from one extreme to another right now. Ponga. On a miss, you can choose to shift your balance away from your center. In your case, you would be shifting it one step towards action. And you can still take a basic technique if you want. Or you can choose to do nothing.
It's not letting me roll.
It's not? Let me check it real quick. What's your bonus for passion?
-1.
There's some special things that aren't dramatic, but like a spider that shoots webs that you step on, you get like unable to
Huh.
Your dice roll are not allowed negatives.
It does. I don't know why it's not. 1 second. Might be.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah.
It just works for Alpha too. If you have 2d6 for handy, I'll just let you. If you have another way of rolling a pair of dice, I will just take your word for it. Don't worry about that.
I'll
Also,
just roll 2d6 and
Yeah.
-1 from it.
Minor.
We have to make sure that enemies are tanky enough.
So 5.
Oh, wow, we all went from one extreme to another.
Can you run by me again? What's up for me?
Alright, so on a miss, You stumble, but you can still move your balance away from center to use one basic technique still. In your case, you would be shifting one step towards action again. So you would go to action +2, and then you could take a basic action if you wanted. And same for you as well, Asori. If you want to shift your balance away from the center point, and if you are currently at center, which I think you are still, you can
Nope.
choose which direction.
I'm
Oh,
going
you're
more
not?
towards confidence.
Okay. What basic technique are you going to do, Asari?
Asari was also favored from my
Oh yes,
thing
Asari, what
last time.
you get to choose an additional technique, even on a miss.
I do have a question about mine when I have a chance.
Go ahead.
Alright, so let's say I use the technique direct to funnel. Does that mean I'm gonna have to add on another fatigue onto myself?
Well, on a miss, you're only able to choose the 3 basic ones. So for advance and attack, it's strike, pressure, or smash. You're not able to use any of your fancy techniques on a miss.
We got pushed away like skeletons. Like, because of the thing, they're pushing it away. We need a bomb to get, like, pushed through these people.
I am gonna do a pressure.
Okay. What approach would you like Xiaolong to not use? Or are you going to go after the stunned thugs right now?
I'm
Your
gonna go
choice.
to the stunned thugs.
What are you going to prevent them from doing?
I think the way to make that clear to me.
So you can choose defend and maneuver, advance and attack, or evade and observe. The next round, they are not allowed to take the one you choose.
I'm sorry, I think I've got confused here.
The pressure. Impress or intimidate a foe. You choose one of the 3 approaches. The next exchange, that foe can't use the approach you choose. So if you say that they can't advance and attack, then they can't advance and attack next round. Or if you say that they can't defend, then they are unable to choose defend and maneuver techniques. So they have to pick something else.
Actually, I will. What was the guy's name again that's attacking?
Xiaolong is the Dalfei lieutenant.
Jaw Long. Okay, I will prevent him from attacking.
Very good. And Asori, what are you going to do? You have potentially 2, if you want to use them both. What 2 would you like to use?
2.
You get 1 if you want to shift your balance, and you were also favored from the earthbending that Uvaro did in the previous exchange, which allows you to pick a second one.
Okay. I'm going to strike for 1 against the guy that I'm engaged with.
Xiaolong.
Yeah, Xiaolong. So long, Xiaolong. And then I guess I will pressure him.
Okay.
So that he cannot evade and observe. He can only attack or defend.
Well, Ponga's already made it so he can't attack, so he's just going to be defending next round with
There
the
you
2
go.
of you putting pressure on him like that. So, strike. They get to Zhao Long gets to choose if he wants to mark fatigue, mark a condition, or shift his balance. Or if you want, you can mark a fatigue to choose for him.
Nah, let him pick.
So you can mark one fatigue to instead choose to hammer them with your blows, forcing them to mark the 2 fatigue, or strike where they are weak, forcing them to mark a condition. You say that you will just let them pick?
Yeah.
Okay.
So close to you, they're all going back and forth in their parking check to decide who's their parking.
Let me note that down. And Zhao Long is evading and observing, so he will clear 1 fatigue.
There needs to be some sort of control of the leg.
And he's also going to do duck and twist
On how often
as he tries to evade the multiple blows that are coming at him from the 3 of you. Duck and twist. Mark fatigue to clear 1 condition and become favored. We will go ahead and mark the fatigue that we just got rid of.
I wonder if Cat showed who we're standing right now.
And as you strike Agile along a story, you hear him just about shout, "Ha! 3 against 1? I love these odds, even if you are nearly children." He seems to he gestures with his hand at the Daofei thugs that are slowly waking back up after being stunned. "Watch, you fools, as I take out 3 as I take out these 3 for the glory of the Red Ribbon Daofei." So he's still reasonably willing to stay in the fight. So he is only able to defend and maneuver on this exchange, however. So the 3 of you pick what your approaches are going to be.
I'm on the attack.
On the attack, Ponga.
Yeah.
Give me a moment to reconsider.
Uvaro, what are you going to do for your...
I'm going to evade and obscure or observe. Sorry, I thought that's an obscure.
Okay.
I was like, Lucas is really fine with these horrors. Right away, like,
Defend and maneuver.
Okay. So Ponga, you are up first. What? Go ahead and roll with focus.
Yep. Yep. What do you got yet?
Oh, and don't forget that the Daofei thugs are also no longer stunned and may still be in the fight.
Why am I laughing? And, like,
Sorry, give me a moment. I'm having trouble with the roll.
Get like 6 players in like max calls.
1 second. Let me test this real quick.
I just think your thing doesn't allow negative.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check that one.
So you also spelled
So
roll.
with with the penalty, that'll go to a 6. So if you want to shift your balance, you can take 1 basic technique.
I had calls, by the way. I had calls where I checked out and I sent it and yes. And the person's calls from the AI. I noticed that the YouTube is this I'll go correct that.
Ponga, do you want to shift your balance away from center to action plus 3 and take a basic technique?
Oh, explain to me what will happen if I get to all the way to action.
If you can go to the 3 without penalty. If you go to the 3 and then you have to go past it, then you also get taken out of the fight for a period. Because you overcommit to your principle of action, and you will move the center, so your center will no longer be at 0. It'll move to action plus 1. So anytime you recenter yourself, you'll go back to that. Basically, you overcommit a bit towards action. You go out of the fight for a bit, but you come back in later. And you've decided that you do need to go more towards action in the future. That is the thing that you need to do. Because you have the 2 principles that you're kind of trying to decide which one you need to work towards more, forgiveness or action. And if you go all the way past on one side, then you're that is the choice that you're making. You want to definitely go for action. But it's not you can go up to the 3 mark without any penalty.
Okay, and then how much will... Sorry, this is new, so there's a lot to think
No, I
of.
understand. That's why we're testing out some of the more esoteric rules now.
New system learning pains. I was talking about that in the Twitch chat.
And if I decide to go more towards forgiveness, do I have to add on another fatigue onto myself?
No, the choice that you have right now is you can move your balance away from the center. So you would go, right now your center is at 0. So to go away from that, you would go further towards action. You wouldn't have to mark another fatigue or anything like that. You would just move to action plus 3. And you could then take a basic technique from defending maneuver.
You can also just do nothing.
That is also an option.
Well, since his little minions are gonna start getting up, I'll do retaliate.
Okay. Another option you can do is with ready. You can mark the 1 fatigue and then ready yourself or your environment to add statuses on someone. But retaliate sounds like a good choice right now in case the thugs come after you. So you are going to be retaliating. Jia Long is also defending and maneuvering as well, due to the two of you putting so much pressure on him. And he is going to start doing some firebending. He is going to just waves his arms around, and a big whip of fire surrounds him as he like spins this strand of fire around himself. And he's going to be aiming at Sori, as you are the person that has done the most to him so far. Take 2 fatigue or mark a condition, your choice.
I'm going to take angry.
Okay. And you must mark a fatigue in order to attack him this exchange, in order to get in close, because he is just whipping this flame around himself at a remarkably high rate of speed. And then we will go to advance and attack, a sword. Go ahead and roll with passion. And I will tinker with the die roller tomorrow and see why it's not taking some of these commands properly.
-1 on that.
So an 11. That's still a 10 or better, so you get to choose. You can mark a fatigue to use a learned technique, or you can use 2 different basic or mastered techniques.
I am going to... I'm going to use tag team. Work with an ally against the same foe. Choose an engaged foe and an ally. Double any fatigue conditions or balance shifts that that ally inflicts upon that foe. And yeah, Yuvaro and Xiaolong.
Okay. Alright, so mark 1 fatigue to... Oh no, that is your
mastered.
That is your mastered one, right?
Yeah.
You have 1 more technique you can choose.
I guess I will also use strike.
Okay. You want to mark a fatigue for him?
I have to mark a fatigue to hit him, right?
Yes, you do have to mark 1 fatigue to hit him. And then if you want to mark an additional fatigue, you can choose. You can make the choice for him or let him choose.
I am going... That'll put me at 4. But I'm going to power play here. I'll do it. I'm going to go up to 4 fatigue, and I will force him to put it into fatigue.
Okay, that puts him up to 4 fatigue.
As I assume I, like, take some of the fire from his, like, bending and use it in my sword to slash back at him and go, your confidence will be your downfall.
Ooh, nice. All right.
Mob density is definitely tighter than it was before.
And then we come to evade and observe. Uvaro, go ahead and clear 1 fatigue.
Alrighty, down to 3.
And then you get to choose creativity or harmony that you want to roll with.
I will be rolling with harmony.
Go ahead and roll.
Got me a 9.
All right, so you get to choose a mastered or basic technique.
I'm pretty sure I'm just
Yes.
gonna have to go with basics because I don't have an
You don't
evade
have a
and
mastered
observe
one?
move.
So my
Let's see.
So, one thing I would like to point out is there is the basic technique for test balance, where you mark a fatigue to challenge and engage foes' balance. You ask what their principle is. They must answer honestly. If you already know what their principle is, you can instead shift their balance away from center. And the same thing that I was explaining to Alpha, where if you go past the end of your track, it takes you out of the fight. That would also apply to NPCs. If you can identify what it is that drives them and push them over the edge of that, you can knock them out of the fight with a
Okay.
hint I will give. That Jia Long did previously boast about how he was going to how he's going to take on 3 at once and gain the glory for it. That might be a hint. Basically, you can ask what it is, or if you think
Confidence.
you have a pretty good guess of what is driving him, you can take a guess. And if you're close enough, like you don't have to be spot on, but as long as you're like reasonably close with your guess, then you get to do the balance shifts. And where Rose used tag team, that would double them, which would be enough to push him off the edge.
Yeah, I was gonna say I was originally gonna, if I got 2 moves, I was gonna bolster or hinder and then test balance, but since I just got
Mhm.
the one, I'll test balance.
Okay, so mark of fatigue. And what do you think is his driving principle?
Well, it says I can ask him and he has to answer honestly. So
But if you already
what
know, dead.
well, I
If you
think his
already
principle
know
is
it,
just like he's a showboat. He wants to be the best of the best, and his principle is just being on top and top dog. He's confident.
I'll give you close enough. His principle is renown, but I'm gonna say that you're close enough there, saying the best of the best and being like known for it. That's reasonably close. What do you say to him that like that you were going to try and drive him over the edge?
right now, I have this like they don't overlap so much in Vampire Survivors. They'll just stack on.
You you stand here with your flaming swords and your garish words, trying to boast about your skills and your renown, when all I see is a grown man being put on his back by 3 teenagers and a blind mole, while his cronies sit there having to pick themselves up. If
Right.
anybody's on top here, it's not you.
Is this 500? Yeah.
All right. Well, with that, Jia Long just kind of blinks for a second, and then with a fairly furious rage, just I will show you all what I am capable of. Just slams his hand on the ground, and flames pour out from it as the bamboo grove around you all catches fire, and the flames start just falling. Bamboo is toppling over. These are fairly big, long, heavy stalks of bamboo that are starting to collapse. The Dalfei thugs are scattering. Jawlong is just kind of sitting there laughing. You hear Bowen, the merchant, behind the wall that you threw up, starting to like scream in fear. What do you all do?
I'm going to use, with the help of my badger mole, I'm going to essentially like cause a dust storm a bit, like just cause dust to pick up and put out the fire around.
All right. We're going to say push your luck. Roll with passion.
Okay. Sorry, roll what?
Push your luck. Roll with passion.
Okay. So my passion is -1.
Ooh. Well, I'm sure you'll do alright. I believe in you.
We're not a very passionate group, huh?
Yep, nope, it didn't like my negative, so let me just roll 2d6 and then
I'll tinker with the dice pot.
minus.
It might. It doesn't want to cooperate with me.
Like, I think
I have another dice pot that I use sometimes that works, I think, a little better. But
anybody who's like not in that immediate circle.
So 6.
all right, does anyone want to jump in to aid this dust storm that's being created?
Oh yes. Aid it with Ponga will aid it with her airbending.
Do you have so you mark 1 fatigue and push it up to a success? The two of you working together are able to stir up enough of a dust storm that it clears out the immediate fire. Some of the bamboo grove is still burning, and in the with the distraction that you have going on right now, the Dao Fei have scattered to the winds. You hear Long shouting. Oh, go ahead.
I wanted to try and like hop on Xiaolong while he's laughing crazy and the others are doing the windstorm and try and hog tie him.
You know what? We're gonna go with that. Have you ever hogtied anyone before?
Maybe not a person, but I mean like having lived in the wilderness, I imagine I've hog-tied an animal.
And what is a person if not a two-legged animal?
Grappling and stuff. Yeah, you know what? Go ahead. Roll with focus for relying on your skills and training. This sounds awesome. I'm gonna.
There's a lot of math.
Apparently it's
like
pretty different.
Is it? What'd you get?
I got a 4.
Oh. Well, you come dashing in to try and tackle Xiaolong. One of the flaming stalks of bamboo collapses just in front of you, narrowly missing you. You do take 1 fatigue as it lands in front of you and just like the flaming air like flies into your face. But it is just enough of a distraction for Xiaolong to make his escape with the rest of the Dao Fei. You hear him shouting. You hear him shouting as he leaves. And so when we meet next time, the Asori, you will see.
Oh, flop on my back, because I have 5 fatigue now.
Oof. Tonga, what is your harmony? What is your harmony stat?
+1.
Oh, okay. And Uvara, what's your harmony?
+1.
Okay, so you're both pretty harmonious. Well, as the Dao Fei scatter, you hear Bowen kind of poke his head around the wall, and he looks around at the flaming bamboo crowd. He's like, "Is it over?"
As soon as he speaks, I will earthbend cuffs, like essentially cuff him with earth, like pin him where he is. You have questions to answer.
He slams to the ground. His hands like slam down to the ground as you cuff him. He's kneeling, looks up at you, and he's like, "I'm sorry. Look, they paid me. They said they were going to pay me. They wanted the statue. It was just some stupid statue, and I tried. Willow was just adamant that she wouldn't sell it. But like the village, it's not that wealthy. Some extra gold circulating around would have been helpful, and it was just a statue." And the
Well,
Dao Fei approaching. the Daofei approached me as saying that they wanted this statue. Katsura, the Red Ribbon leader, sent me a letter asking that he wanted this.
But it's not spiky and stuff. It's more
And I figured that I figured nothing. It was just one statue. And Willow was being so stubborn. I thought I could just like. I didn't think they would show up with a whole army and burn part of the village. And then you saw I tried to get the payment that they promised me, and Jia Long just. Well, you apparently were here for that.
The only payment you'll receive is time in a prison. We're taking you back to the village, and we're going to alert one of the nearby villages to send a guard wagon over to pick you up. You're going to answer for what you've done, even if you tried to do it with some blind, oh, you're helping the village. Your helping the village did more damage than anything else could have.
How you could have helped your village is by sharing your money with your community.
Bowen just kind of like flumps over, painting. I know. Bowen looks up at you, Pong, because haven't you ever had someone that just royally screwed up? I know. I realize now that what I did was a terribly foolish action, and I would like a chance to make amends for that. I can help rebuild the village with, like you said, I can use my wealth to help. I didn't realize that it was that they were going to go this far for just a simple statue.
Well,
But you know, when Bowen starts talking about forgiveness, you remember the tragedy that took your hearing from you.
where with the Rangers,
And you feel, you remember like the forgiveness that you had to offer to people. You can either move your balance back towards forgiveness, or you can resist it and stay where you are.
and I'm on
You
like
are on
+3 for action.
Yep. So you could go to +2 on action, or you could roll to stay where you're at.
I like to stay where I'm at.
Okay, roll 2d6. No bonus for this one. Okay. On a 7 through 9, you can choose one. You can clear a condition or mark a growth, which is the XP. You can clear a condition or mark growth by immediately acting to prove them wrong. You can shift your balance towards the opposite principle. Or you can learn what their principle is if you want.
Well, that's quite a few options. Can you run by me those again, please?
You can clear a condition, or you can mark an XP. But in order to do one of those, you have to immediately act to prove them wrong. You can shift your balance further towards action, or you can learn what Bowen's principle is.
the more they get in position to shoot at us, and the more their rhythm starts matching with each other.
You probably don't want to take the second one, because that would knock your balance all the way off the track, which probably isn't something you want to do, but I don't know, you could do it. It's an option. The way growth works is at the end of the session, we'll answer a few questions. Every question that you answer yes to, you get a growth. Once you get 4 growth, you get to pick a new advancement. So you basically level up after 4 XP. So one of the options here is if you immediately act to prove that you are not in a forgiving mood, you get an XP.
I guess I'll go for growth.
Okay. What action are you taking to prove Bowen wrong that you are not the forgiving type right
Shit, never mind. I take that back.
now? Okay. You can learn what Bowen's principle is if you want to learn a bit more about him.
Yeah, I want to learn about the man.
Okay. Bowen's principle is progress. He one of his drives is to just progress, build, make things different.
Like 100 throwing at us.
Which doesn't always work out well when you make a deal with bandits. But what can you say? So you have your captive. The other thing I would like to point out is there is the guide and comfort, a companion, which allows you to remove fatigue from your friends if you talk with them and have a heartfelt conversation and succeed at a roll. But if anyone wants to try and say something comforting to Asori to get rid of some of that fatigue that she has.
Just on so many.
I'll definitely try.
Okay. What are you saying to Asori?
I'll walk over, seeing them slumped over on the ground, and I'll reach a hand down to them. And, well, I've got to say, if there was an expert swordsman out on the field today, I don't think it was that guy over there.
All right, and go ahead and roll with harmony.
Yeah, when we had a
Okay.
bunch of them, it was getting canceled.
Flash.
The impact.
2d6. 1 second, I need to double check my stat again. +1. Okay.
So Bowen strives for growth.
I got a 9.
They're not
Okay.
and it's not super consistent, but I am seeing
So on a 9,
right before they hit the ground, though they lag out.
Asori, do you open up to Uvara?
Sure.
Okay.
I forgot. I have to reach down 2 hands because they're handcuffed. So a little bit of a retcon, but I reach both my hands out.
All right. So where Asori is opening up, Uvaro, you may ask them a question. Any question you would like. And Asori, if you answer the question honestly, you can remove a condition or 2 fatigue.
I'm getting some higher CPU here, but I'm not
Hmm. So I just ask a
You just ask a question about their character, how they feel in this moment, what they would like you to do. Whatever question comes to mind, and if Asori answers it honestly and opens up to you, they get to remove 2 fatigue.
calculation of how to move it.
It's the that's rough, buddy moment.
I saw there right before you fell over there. Were you running to were you trying to stop him from escaping?
Yeah, those guys definitely
Yeah, I was gonna tie him up.
Huh.
Didn't quite
it's a pretty
work out
decent
how
idea.
I planned.
I mean, I guess a flaming bamboo forest will do that to you.
Yeah. Can't help the battleground, right? I didn't
Nope.
even come at him full force.
Well, next time we run into him, you're gonna have to give him that full force. Let him know who the real swordswoman is.
And she'll like grab his hands and like pull up and then like put a hand on his shoulder. And then your hands are like cuffed together still.
Like,
Yeah, at the wrist. Yeah.
Is there like a weak point or is it like a solid chunk of metal?
It's a solid metal cuff. It's almost like a pressure point cuff. If you looked at it, like where his wrists connect, like touch the metal, there are like actual pieces of like little divots at certain points that push into his hand, so that he can't physically like do too much in them. So that's why his bending has been pretty basic, and that's why I'm saying he failed one of his things was he had the handcuff, so it really impeded him making a sandstorm.
Can I like try to like heat the metal in a way that like one side of the manacles will like let go of his arm?
Yeah, I'm not even gonna make you roll for that. If Uvaru's cool with it, I say it just happened.
He'll look like a bit like he's not sure if he like should have the handcuffs off. And he'll be like, "Well, if you all trust me enough."
You knew that guy and you didn't jump to his side. I mean, He'll like move his wrists as like move his hands as best he can to give a bit as good of an opening for the metal.
I with a judiciously applied firebending, Asori is able to bust the cuffs open, and you are now like free to move your arms about.
as I'm like arc welding them off, I'll be like, just be careful. You'll end up tied up if you try anything.
He'll chuckle, and when his wrists are free, like he'll like move his arms around, and then he'll just really quickly do like a traditional earth bending stance, and then just to get himself back into the feel of not being handcuffed. And he'll nod. Thank you. It feels weird not having them on.
So do I
I say you
remove
proved yourself.
do I remove 2 fatigue?
Yes, you remove 2 fatigue because you opened up.
Okay. If I walk over to Bowen and I put fire very close to his face, does that count as putting someone in danger to remove my anger?
You
If
could also,
I
if you want, you can also remove. I think you can remove a condition instead if you want to do that. Yeah, you can remove a
we
condition
can
or 2 fatigue, so your choice.
Well,
If you don't want to
remove the
lag
fatigue. We can remove the fatigue because if we ride on my badger mole, it removes the condition.
okay. Well, then I won't get in somebody's face tonight, I guess.
Oh God, are you
You can
freaking
if you
Fred
want.
Durst?
I won't stop you.
Would it
You can
have
still
worked?
break. Like I'll let you.
Just for like future reference, would that have worked?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay. Because I figured it would, because it's like I'm going to let off some steam getting in the face of the guy that like we just offended, but it's not like I was going to actually hurt him. But fire's dangerous.
If you want to like get in his face, I will let you get in his face.
Nah. Down the line, though.
Okay. So that feels like a pretty good stopping point for the night. So the last thing we do, at the end of each session, we ask everyone the following question. Did you learn something challenging, exciting, or complicated about the world? So,
Yes.
Ponga, everyone feels like they learned something exciting, challenging, or complicated? I would say so.
Yes.
So everyone marks 1 growth for that. Did you stop a dangerous threat or solve a community problem?
We stopped a dangerous threat. Maybe. No.
So that gives everyone another growth. Uh, the third one, did you guide a companion towards balance or end the session at your center? So on your balance track, did you end at the center point?
No.
Hell no.
I don't believe anybody did, unfortunately.
No.
So everyone gets 2 growth for those, and then sorry. You are the bold, correct, Asori?
Yes.
Did you express vulnerability by admitting you were wrong, or that you should have listened to someone you ignored?
Respawn these real quick. I'm gonna.
I don't think so.
Okay. And then the icon. Did you accomplish a feat worthy of your burden and tradition?
What is my burden and tradition again?
You're the icon of the Daofei, the true Daofei, the rebellious free people, not the murderous thugs.
Yeah, I mean, I stood up for somebody. I also just going by my burden and traditions. I protected, uh, protected nature. I provided aid and succor to the downtrodden. I didn't refuse an earnest request for help. I followed my.
Okay. So that gives you 1 growth. And
I will say I have a thing on my page called Legacy of Excellence.
Uh-huh.
And it said to mark off 4 things. Did the thing today count as stand up to somebody who doesn't respect you?
Yes.
Okay, so I also get a growth for that.
Excellent. Good catch. And Ponga, did you improve the lives of a community of average citizens or help an ordinary person with their problems?
I say yes. I helped rebuild the stalls, and I managed to tell one have one of the villagers tell me something that he was keeping inside of himself.
Alrighty, so that gives all of you 3 growth. And as I said, once you get to 4 growth, you get to choose a new advancement. They're listed on the playbooks. You just check a box and you get whatever the box says. But excellent session. One last thing I would like to ask is, does anyone have any standout moments that they would like to recognize?
Shockwave.
That was pretty cool. I did like the shockwave.
Me deflecting the attack that was gonna pierce at Asuri.
That was also a good one.
And
I
the
liked that one.
sandstorm.
I don't just exhaust my tools.
That was
Sorry,
cool.
any standout moments for you?
It felt pretty good to set up for Uvaro to finish off the guy with my combo
cool.
move. Yeah, because I was
That
like,
was really cool.
this is part of his character's background, and I have this ability, so thematically it felt perfect.
It did. It felt really good. Does anyone have anything that they wish to see in the future? Anything that you want to see slightly differently, or that you would like to see that maybe we didn't get to this session?
Hmm. Not that I can
Sorry.
think of.
Yeah, I'm not thinking much. Could you say what you said before, and maybe deeper thinking on my part?
Is there anything that you would like to see slightly differently in the future, or that you didn't get a chance to see this session that you would like to see in the future?
Yeah, well, I think
Well, definitely would have liked for my character to interact with Daniel's and Rose's character more. I know, I feel like
Okay.
part of that is my own part on today's session. I didn't interact
I'm
that
getting
much.
We're learning a lot of what we're doing though, so
Yeah,
hiccups.
totally good. I will make sure that we have some more opportunities for some inter-party interaction. Good to know. Thank you all for
I think it's cool. I think it's
Well,
cool.
I will see you all next week. Thank you all for coming, and I hope you all have a wonderful week. And we will pick up where we left off with Bowen captured, being taken back to the village.
Thanks for running.
Thank you for
Yeah.
hosting.
Have a
I have
wonderful
additional questions I have to ask myself at the end of sessions.
Fen in
Oh, you
chat.
do?
Fen in chat
Yeah.
says Shockwave was an awesome. Like they really liked that, and then they're saying good night to everybody.
Have a good night,
Well, good night.
Ben.
Night to
Yeah, my
everybody.
character, so good night, y'all.